Hey gang, what is going on? Ryan and Juan here, about to talk about NXT Takeover Dallas. The event just concluded. This video almost didn't happen because my internet went down. During the main event, I started panicking, and then I sent you a message, and then you started panicking.
Yes.
So I was panicking because you were panicking, but here we are. Internet's back. As of now.
You're the NXT expert. We need you in this video.
But yeah, we are here to talk about the show as part of our WrestleMania extravaganza overload. Right off the bat, we've spoken none about the show except Samojo bleeding extensively. What is your overall take on it?
Overall take on NXT Dallas, this is probably my top 3 favorite takeovers, I have to say. Like, this is probably the best one I've seen in definitely since Brooklyn, and I think I liked it better than Brooklyn, actually.
Yeah, no, I agree. This was an outstanding show. It was a stiff show. It was a vicious show.
Yes.
They took it to a whole nother level. Do you think that, and because this is how I felt, this was the first takeover show where it no longer felt like this is developmental. It no longer felt like WWE's treating it as something else. It's like, this is a brand. This is officially a competition almost in many ways, as we saw with guys like Bobby Roode showing up in the crowd who just left TNA.
I think a lot of that feeling of why you might be thinking that, and I agree with you, is that there wasn't a single match on this card that felt like it was for a developmental company. Every single match felt like a main event type of match. It felt like the culmination of a feud. It felt like a legitimate wrestling show. There wasn't any kind of, oh, we're going to put this guy in here in a jobber match or any of that. Some of the takeovers have had, some of those like less important matches on there, but this was just basically like, was it 5 matches?
Yes, 5 matches.
Yeah, like 5. It basically felt like 5 main events.
Pretty much. Great job with the crowd, by the way. I think that if that crowd was not as energetic, the last 2 matches could have been in trouble. So let's actually get to the matches one by one. The first up, Tag Team Championship match. The Arrival defended against American Alpha. And American Alpha are our brand new tag team champions. So that was a recurring theme with the exception of the main event. Finn Bálor did retain, but we have American Alpha retained. That crowd, man, when their music hit, I don't know about you, I got some goosebumps going on.
Yeah, I mean, I'm prefacing a little bit of this video, which I basically haven't watched NXT since the last special. And so I'm going into this, not as familiar with everybody on the roster, but this was probably my second favorite match of the night. I think the crowd helped make this match, but also I was just really impressed with how smooth and how I really love the psychology in this match. There was a lot of clever tag team moves that you never see. Things like the Revival where, he tagged in incorrectly from the ground, and that distracted the referee for him to get an advantage, and then they do the real tag. Or even little things like when, the American Alpha, like he's calling in his tag partner off a tag just to do like a double team move in using that brief amount of time.
It doesn't happen anymore.
Yeah, just a lot of really cool things, and I love, that double German suplex spot. Like, it was just a very, very fun match, and the crowd was just so hot for this match, and I loved every second of it. Even the botch.
Yeah, because we actually got a Botchamania chant, but to also be clear, it actually kind of benefits that you don't watch NXT regularly. In my case, I do. I watch it every week, so people can get sort of a feedback from somebody that watches weekly versus somebody that watches primarily the takeovers. Here's the thing about this match, not so much the other ones, that really, really surprised me. Ryan, the babyface teams got cheered. The babyface team and the heels, they got booed.
Yeah.
Like wrestling logic made sense in this match. The crowd was completely invested into it. One thing that the commentators and the commentary is just so different in NXT. That can be a video on its own. But one of the things that I believe it was Corey Graves, he pointed out that these teams had never actually faced each other one-on-one. It's been months in the build. Yet in the podcast this week, we talked about, well, they always figure out before pay-per-view how to get everybody physically involved. This feud has been building up for a very long time. We thought Enzo and Cass at some point were going to become tag champs. That didn't happen. Now we have this. And are you happy with the little that you've seen about Jason Jordan and Chad Gable?
I mean, I've heard a lot of hype behind these guys, and I obviously see where why everyone compliments them so much and has so many good things to say. I think everyone in this match was very impressive. So I mean, from what I've seen, I think it's definitely well deserved for them. And like you said, I think there's a lot to that where if two teams have never actually faced each other, to save that for the big payoff instead of having too many matches before the real match.
Exactly. And just on my last little tidbit here, there were barely any moves done in this match, and it was because they made each move count for something. By the way, it's really late for some. I'm trying to keep the energy going. But
We're doing this immediately after.
Yeah, this is immediately after. It's almost it's actually past midnight here.
Yeah.
But very simple moves that were effective. We had suplexes, but it wasn't like we got 80 suplexes. No, whenever we got that one suplex, it meant something. The crowd reacted to it. And the one thing I want to get to here is the botch. Not so much the fact that it happened, but you as a fan, did that in any way take you out of the match for an extended period of time, or were you sort of okay with it?
I was completely fine with it. I feel like they handled it very well.
Yeah.
They didn't just try and immediately go for the move over again or anything like that. They kind of just paused for a minute, let the crowd kind of acknowledge what happened, and then they kind of continued on.
So getting to the second match now, and I think that this one out of the 5, we said the 5 could have been the main event, right? I strongly disagree when it comes to this match. We had Baron Corbin versus Austin Aries. Now, this feud, many people have been enjoying it because it's been very simple. Austin Aries made his NXT debut just after Baron Corbin officially lost his number 1 contendership after losing that triple threat match. So he takes Austin Aries out. Austin Aries says, don't suspend him. Give me a match with him at TakeOver. Pretty simple story, right? Baron Corbin, this has really been his storyline where he doesn't like the indie guys coming in. That is his character right now. So this makes absolute sense. Austin Aries recently left TNA. It seems like whenever guys leave TNA now, they have the opposite effect. When we used to make fun of TNA for getting all the WWE guys, now WWE's getting all the TNA guys.
WWE's just signing everybody, not just TNA.
Did you get a WWE contract?
Japan, everything.
Did you get a WWE contract, Ryan?
I can't say.
No?
Can't say yet.
Okay, well, just don't get a name
No spoilers.
Change. But
you gotta wait for Dave Meltzer.
Yeah. What was your overall impression for this match?
This match, I will be completely honest, there was a few distractions going on. I was trying to watch as much of this as I could. From what I saw, I thought it was fine. Nothing really jumped out to me, but then again, it did not. Admittedly, it did not have my full attention. It's a Friday night. Yeah. Things are happening.
Yeah. Hey, perfectly understandable. It's WrestleMania weekend. Crazy stuff. Don't get drunk, Ryan. Don't. Because you probably are.
No promises.
Okay,
no promises.
So that's out of the question anymore. But for me, what I think happened is that WWE relied on the crowd reaction for the match rather than the moves. Because if you look at Shinsuke Nakamura and Sami Zayn, before that match even started, the people were saying, like, this is wrestling when they were just getting this off. But it didn't happen with this. Even when he had a sleeper hold applied to him, the crowd wasn't bothering to, do the clapping or anything. Like, there just was not any real emotion invested into this match. If anything, the crowd was more, at least the way that I perceived it, in favor of Corbin than they were Aries, although we did get Aries' chance.
Yeah, that kind of comes as a surprise to me. This is the ultimate wrestling fan crowd, so you'd expect them to be fully behind Austin Aries, who's, he's been all around the world. So I expected that. So that did catch me off guard because Corbin's not usually a fan favorite of the smarky type of crowd. So that was a surprise for me.
Yeah, he's gotten a lot better, and this match sort of proved it. By the way, huge size difference. I did not realize just how short and how tall Baron Corbin is as opposed to like Austin Aries. But the match concluded with a roll-up victory. Obviously, this is so he can get a win on his debut match.
Was a surprise. I was expecting Corbin to win, so I was actually pretty surprised by the Aries win there.
I'm surprised at the fact that we got a roll-up, because if the crowd again was really invested into it.
NXT's still WWE.
Yeah, but it also shows you once again, like, you, as much as you want to rely on the crowd, every now and then just to conclude or figure my thoughts a little bit better here, it felt like they had a match played out. They went out there and they did not change that match, despite the fact the crowd was expecting a different kind of match. Now, this is night one. Probably in a month, this will not be a problem. I'm not saying like, hey, oh my God, Austin Aries is doomed into the WWE. But maybe not the best first impression. I made sure to go online, check out a lot of tweets from people that have never seen him wrestle before, and everybody's impression was like, oh, okay, so he's short and he's athletic. There are a lot of guys in NXT that are like that, and that can maybe deliver a little bit more, but that's about it that we can really talk about it, because not much else happened. Now, getting to match number 3, possibly the most anticipated match of the whole night. No championship on the line, no real storyline. Sami Zayn gets to go one-on-one against the newest NXT superstar. Well, even though Austin Aries was the previous match, Shinsuke Nakamura. Now, neither you or me have really seen a full-length Shinsuke Nakamura match. I've seen clips, I've seen highlight reels. The moment he got signed, I saw these top 50, top 10, top 20 moves of Shinsuke Nakamura. So that was really my context. What did you think about the entrance, the hype, and ultimately the match itself?
Yeah, aside from a few clips, and I'd heard he's kind of like the Japanese wrestler version of Michael Jackson.
Yeah, I've heard that a lot.
Which I could, I totally saw from that. And I also heard that, he was very careful about his theme song and making sure it was awesome. And he did not disappoint. I thought his theme was really cool.
You're not epileptic, right? Because that entrance...
Yeah, there was a lot of strobe effects at the beginning there.
Which was cool, but somebody could get a seizure.
It was a little much as far as like how it projected through the screen, like, watching it from a TV or whatever. But either way, yeah, I thought I like his style. He's got that, like, because everyone knows the Japanese strong style or whatever, but he has his own flair to his moves and everything, and he's just his kind of mannerisms and everything. I really liked it. I thought his entrance was really cool, and this is my favorite match of the night.
Yeah, just everything that happened about this match, and it goes back to the first match. Not a lot of moves happened, and they don't need to, where we sometimes get treated to matches that have 50,000
Well, maybe
moves.
Different types of moves. I mean, I think we needed a forearm count. In that,
but that the single build-up, like, okay, let's feature the beginning of the match, right? So maybe somebody has not seen Nakamura. You see him point at Sami Zayn, like, come on, right? Then Sami Zayn returns the favor a couple seconds later. The crowd reacts because they know what's about to happen. So any move that happened after would really mean something, as opposed to just, hey, let's have a wrestling clinic. 80 different kind of moves. Like, the knee worked. Every single thing worked. Sami Zayn had to wrestle a completely different style than we've ever seen before, because it wasn't just about a stiff match, right? You can have like a bunch of chops or something, but Sami started flat out punching the guy. And that is the babyface. Have you really seen that recently? Like, in years? I honestly don't know that a babyface just stoops down to the other baby faces level, because neither one's really a bad guy here.
Yeah, well, especially like when Nakamura started really going to town with the stomps and stuff while he was up against the ropes. And then later on, you see like Sami Zayn brings back that same like ruthlessness and intensity. So they just told us like a really good story of just being, you know, giving you everything I've got, super physical till like the very end. You know what I mean? Sami Zayn has one of the best just styles of selling. Like, it's like he's still standing, but he's dead, you know?
At one point, he got that, it was on like an enziguri, but basically a kick to the side of the head.
Like, he went to the ropes, like, I got this, and then just collapsed.
Like, no, man, this is not happening. It was almost like a flare flop, but it's good, though, because it felt like, I know, I'm still in this match. No, man, look, that kick, that got me out. And, just everything from the forearm battle in the middle of the ring. Ultimately, Shinsuke was victorious. I forget what his finishing maneuver is called.
His finisher, it was like I don't even know if I might have missed the replay or they didn't show the replay, but it was like kind of like a spinning kick, but he kind of spins.
It's like a spinning knee. It's a spinning knee. His whole moveset is
and he
geared
kind
towards
of like
the knee.
the way he turns is different. I can't explain
it's
it.
Almost
I'm
like
not sure what his
Yakuza kick or something, but instead of the kick, it's like a knee, and it's really cool. I think the initial time we saw it, it got a little lost on me because I honestly thought that Sami just sort of fell. When they did show a replay, I'm like, okay, because once again, I don't know his moveset. I don't
know what his finisher was in Japan, if it's the same move or whatever.
Yeah, from the gist of what I saw online, it does seem that he's pretty much the same guy, which goes a long way. And I just got to point out here, I don't even know how he's going to have matches in WWE, because one thing is like a Daniel Bryan, right, where he does a lot of kicks, but the man is just straight up vicious. And if he ever went to the main roster, how would a match with a guy like John Cena even look like? Like, I cannot even visualize that. It seems cool.
It maybe you can't visualize it, but I think it's totally possible to happen.
Yeah.
So
last quick thing, his mannerisms overall, his appearance, his pants, those be some tight leather pants. Do you like that?
Yeah. Well, I don't know which way you're suggesting, but I like immediately from one match, one appearance, I kind of get who he is, and you don't get that with a lot of people. So I like his style. I like that he's very like charismatic, you know.
I don't know why I immediately thought Dean Ambrose versus Nakamura. That seems like it would be a fun thing, because both of them have a completely unique look, walk, stance. Every single thing about this guy, if he were to be put in WWE 2K18 or 17, they got themselves a problem, because even the walking animation has to be different, and it can't be the generic one.
Well, it's like we say all the time, it's one thing to kind of be your character in your entrance, but when the bell rings and you're still kind of wrestling as your character, I think that makes it's a huge difference, and I see that with him.
Exactly. For those watching, we actually interviewed former WWE superstar JTG, where at one point we straight up talked to him about this. Like, it's not just about the entrance. What about the match itself? How do you go into the psychological process of developing a moveset that really does complement everything that you just did with your music, your entrance, and all of that stuff? Now, I was a little worried at this point, because I'm thinking, holy crap, whoever has the next match, that crowd is going to be dead. And then it's the women's championship match, and then I felt bad for them. But it seems like the people, they were just like, man, I got me like 20 Red Bulls that are probably going to go to the hospital, because they were ready to go for this match.
Yeah.
And it was a pretty similar match.
There were some lulls in the crowd, but I think they still stayed pretty active. But I mean, granted, they needed some time to
rest.
And
it's understandable. Like, none of these matches were bad. It didn't matter how you laid them out. One match was going to be put into the spot, after the third match and before the main event. It didn't matter who.
Yeah, absolutely. And another every single, like, we could say physical match. Every single match was physical, and especially with Asuka in there. she's gonna, bring the stiff hits,
Yeah, she really did. And ultimately, she didn't make Bayley tap out. She passed out. So instead of talking about the whole match or step by step, I actually want to get to the conclusion first. Were you surprised by that? And did you like it?
I liked it. I think it's a good way to keep Bayley from just, tapping out, giving up or whatever. I think that wouldn't be great for her character. Her passing out is a great way for her. If she's going to lose, it's a great way for her to lose because, Bayley's a fighter and it doesn't do anyone any favors if she taps out. And if she has to lose, I think that's the way to do it. It's better than her getting pinned. It makes her look a lot tougher. And I think, Asuka is also someone who I think needed the win because, she's a big deal, and
Yeah.
I don't think it's time for her to lose yet. So I think this was the best way you could have done it.
Exactly. It makes perfect sense because Bayley has defended the championship against Nia Jax. Eva Marie, has been involved in that mix. She basically defeated the whole, if not at least the majority, of the female wrestlers that are down there in NXT. So what do you do if you beat Asuka? Unless you bring out, I don't know, like Awesome Kong comes back or something, which I don't think is ever going to really happen.
Yeah, she needs a new threat, a new challenge.
Exactly. So now it's like, damn, Bayley beat everybody, but then Asuka beat Bayley. Oh, but she didn't pin her or make her submit. So it's almost like a fluke in a way. So eventually, we have to be getting a rematch. I do want to point out that Bayley stepped up her game impressively. I thought that this match was more comparable to the match we just talked about rather than the main event. It was really stiff because we can talk about a physical match, right? But you felt the stiffness, and right at the beginning you could tell it's like, okay, we know the crowd may be tired, so we got to really just kick up. Like I tweeted, the cardio game is strong in this one because those two wrestlers went in there immediately and just fired that crowd up. And usually Bayley is I'm not going to say slow, but she is never that quick or that agile. It seems like they always save that for her opponents. But with this match, because it was a babyface, it felt like, no, just go out there, do your thing. And it was an outstanding match, and I really like it. But now, this is where the speculation starts. Bayley no longer has a championship, much like Sami Zayn now seems to be officially done with NXT. Is Bayley following that route, with the exception of the inevitable rematch?
Of going up to the main roster?
Yes.
I would say that I would not be surprised if we saw her the Raw after WrestleMania, but I don't necessarily believe it's the correct decision. Not because I don't think Bayley's ready, but because I think they're really just getting into the groove of building up the three women who are up there now. And I think they need to be firmly established before Bayley can come into the mix. Otherwise, she might get lost in the shuffle. And I don't want to see that happen. And Bayley right now can be the big fish in the small pond and lead the division just like Finn Balor's doing right now. So I'd say don't rush it because you have plenty, you got time to give Bayley the spotlight a little bit later, maybe a little bit further into the year.
I agree completely. Bayley still has a lot of things to do in NXT. Now that she lost the title, it's not that she's not champion. She lost the title. She can try to win it back, get a bit of a mean streak going, because I am still deeply concerned about her character making it to the main roster. Personally, I think it works. She's going to sell a ton of merchandise. But historically, whenever such a happy-go-lucky characters make it to the main roster, they don't end up great. And even when they're not like that, you end up being, I guess, Tyler Breezed? Is that an adjective?
It might. I mean, the full discussion will have to be, something for another time. But one thing I'll say is that I feel like, even though it seems weird, you maybe have to reset her character on the main roster so that everyone can be on the same journey that we had in NXT of her starting from the nervous, shy, like excited fan Bayley who progresses to the kind of courageous Bayley that she is now. So I think everyone needs to see that, and not just like the inside crowd,
Yeah, I agree completely. Although the last thing here is that we do have the other 3 of the 4 horsewomen in the main roster, and I do think that that's going to help a lot, because inevitably anybody that looks up any information about them is going to have to, stumble upon some picture of Bayley or a match with Sasha Banks, etc., the Iron Man match. So we will see what happens there. Now, after that, we did mention Bobby Roode made an appearance. Now, this is crazy because he is still in TNA television. He just recently left. As a matter of fact, I believe, I forget who else, somebody else recently left TNA and is also still in there.
Eric Young?
Yeah, Eric Young, and somebody else, I forget who. Like, it's a bunch of people that are not there right now. But,
well, Ken Anderson.
Ken Anderson, that's another guy. But it's one thing to, recently leave. You're in here. Like, you were on that crowd, and I highly doubt it's going to be a case where, hey, he showed up. Goodbye. Good to see you, right? He's got to show up at some point.
Well, it could be a thing like James Storm, where maybe they have him do a couple matches, and then if he wants to stay, he can. But one thing is, like, nobody's saying, I mean, we'll see with the reports and everything, that Bobby Roode is signed. But no doubt in my mind that Triple H personally invited him or something just to get buzz going. Even if nothing happens, I think he just wanted to get people talking.
Or just to see, like, if we put this guy in the crowd, will the people care?
Yeah. Or I could, even see it as something like, Triple H is saying, hey, come and like sit at the show and just watch what we do and see if you want to be a part of this,
WWE is a whole different ball game now. I know it's NXT, but even then, the fact that Bobby Roode, like, not
everybody's
I know that's his
coming
real name,
here.
but
Everybody's coming to WWE now. They're signing everybody.
And not even just signing. Austin Aries is Austin Aries, not something else.
Yeah,
Nakamura is Nakamura.
It's literally like 2002 again. Everyone gets their name.
Yeah. So one guy that did get a name change is Finn Bálor. So he was Prince Devitt. He actually was interviewed on Sam Roberts Wrestling Podcast about that, and he said, man, like, I kind of like the Finn Bálor name. That, and I honestly think that name change was pretty good for him. I don't know if Prince Devitt would have been the best choice, but he defends his NXT championship in the main event against the guy that did get to keep his name. It's a name battle in NXT. Samoa Joe. Now, two things here is that obviously Finn Bálor retained. The other one that we got to talk about is the topic of blood. Now,
well, one thing before that.
Go ahead.
Finn Bálor's entrance with a chainsaw.
Yeah.
So we know Fight Night and everything. He stole Dandy's gimmick.
Exactly.
But the real thing, you can check out Fight Night on our YouTube channel, by the way. The real thing, though, is how did you feel about Finn Bálor using a chainsaw 2 days before Dean Ambrose is supposed to have his his street fight against Brock Lesnar, where they've already teased the chainsaw? Do you feel like that was kind of weird? It's like, we never see chainsaws, and all of a sudden now we have 2 instances of chainsaws showing up.
They're getting
with 2
people
different
ready.
wrestlers.
Like, I honestly don't know what to make of it. I thought it was a little ridiculous and funny, more than
it
badass.
Was weird because it's like, what else can you do with the chainsaw besides do the Leatherface thing? It really limits you in your entrance.
Yeah, I sent out a tweet because all the matches have been stiff. So I said, Finn Bálor, all the guys have been doing great in stiff matches. What are you gonna do? Murder. I'm just gonna murder everybody. But I thought it was a cool thing. It didn't fit because if it was like a hardcore match, cool. With Dean Ambrose, he can come out with a chainsaw and psychologically, it's like he's trying to scare off Brock Lesnar. It's a street fight, blah blah blah. Not sure how that plays into here, but I did appreciate the simpler paint overall. I actually like the fact that it wasn't like all over his body or something. It was like basically his chest area and the face. I really enjoyed that. But going back to the blood, because such a big portion of this match was either modified or changed or just interrupted by the blood. Right at the beginning, he got busted open. I believe it was like his eyebrow.
Yeah, it was a headbutt, like right at the beginning of the match. So yeah, I agree with what you were saying. It's basically, I mean, we had so many excellent matches, with, you had Sami Zayn and Nakamura, and then you have Bayley and Asuka, and then when you get to your main event, because, I mean, I think you already sent a tweet, Juan, like, I feel bad for the main event at this point, because, like,
exactly.
How are they going to top those matches? And then just luck isn't on their side when Joe gets busted open and they have to continually stop the match. So I still think they really overcame that distraction big time and still put on an excellent match.
Yeah, very good match.
And it's not going to be as good because external factors unfortunately prevented it from being so. But all that being said,
as a fan, even if the match is like a 5-star match, when you get a bunch of 5-star matches, eventually you become neutral to them, or you become normal to them, and it was a really good match.
Yeah, no, it was. All that being said, like, there was a lot of things going against it, and despite all that, I still think they turned it into an excellent match.
Yeah, unfortunately, I saw the ending in the form of a replay. As I mentioned, my internet went down like during the last 5 minutes, so I had to go to my phone. Then between the Ryan texting and everything, when my internet goes up, I hear Finn Balor's theme, and I'm like, oh my God, what a way to just go back and watching the show, right? Like, I already know Balor won. Then I saw the replay, so we've seen other matches end like this. Basically, it was the momentum from the move in the corner. Balor was able to capitalize. So I guess in some ways similar to match number 2, Aries and Corbin, we got another match where it concluded in a way that really doesn't make either guy look bad. Did you like that, considering that it was the main event when you had all of these amazing matches?
It wasn't the typical roll-up, so I felt a little bit better about it. Would have enjoyed a more traditional ending.
Like a clean win or something.
Yes, but I understand they're trying to protect both guys, and I thought this was at least a little bit more of an interesting way to do that, where it's like it was kind of a clever use of, I'm going to use your momentum against you to get the win. So I at least appreciated that. It wasn't like just a cop-out roll-up, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. I am a little bit confused, and this is the bad thing about when you record something right after it just happened, because it feels like in the next 3 days, what I'm about to bring up right now will be answered in some way, which is, what now? Because I honestly don't know what they are going to do with Finn Balor. If he lost or something, then...
How long has he been champion at this point? It's been a while.
Yeah, he's getting up there when it comes to championship length. And it's good, right? That NXT doesn't just magically change champions every 2 to 3 months.
Yeah.
Whenever it changes, it really does mean something. And you can easily remember the former champions because the lineage is not that long right now.
He's coming close to a year, is he not? Only a couple of months away?
It feels like it is a year or really, really damn close to it. We are not really good with time.
Well, because you want to say that Kevin Owens had the belt around Elimination Chamber, which was like in June-ish, I want to say. So probably late June or July that Balor won it. So it's only a couple months away from being a year.
Yeah. I'm trying to look up the information right now, but I'm just getting a bunch of Wikipedia articles.
We're getting a little sidetracked on a review,
yeah.
but nevertheless.
But it's part of it. But overall, I thought that was a really solid match. A 2.5 hour show with only 5 matches seems like crazy, right? Usually we would get maybe 7,
But,
maybe even 8 matches crammed up.
2-hour wrestling shows are just the best. It's just the right amount of time.
Yeah.
We've talked about it before. It doesn't feel like it goes on too long. It's nice. And like, I like how that's their special, you know, NXT 1 hour, their takeovers 2 hours. It just feels right. I like that format a lot.
I agree completely. And my concluding thought with this is that I know a lot of people were concerned before this. Oh, the hype is sort of cold with this takeover compared to other ones. And honestly, it sort of did feel like that with the exception of the debuts. It felt like it was just another show. You know it's going to be great and it's going to happen. NXT does not give you that amazing match every single week or a match with 80 different moves. It gives you really, 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 really solid matches every episode. It builds them up. And when you go to the takeovers, you're reminded why they take it to a whole nother level. Like, okay, so they need the spotlight, especially when it's WrestleMania weekend, because we know that crowd, a lot of them, it's probably the first time, or at least a good portion, that they've not only gone to NXT Live, but actually just seen NXT itself with any of those guys. So overall, are you really, really happy with the show? Really excited? And does it amp you up for WrestleMania, Ryan?
Absolutely.
I'm not feeling
like
the
I
amped
said,
upness.
I'm amped up,
Yeah.
man. Absolutely. It was one of the, like I said, one of the best takeovers that they've ever done. This needs to be a thing. Doing it every year with the WrestleMania crowd.
That crowd.
You can't beat that crowd. So this has to become a yearly tradition. So overall, yeah, awesome show. WrestleMania's got big shoes to fill to top that because there was a lot of excellent matches tonight.
A lot of excellent matches really did occur. None with outstanding match stipulations, which says a lot about NXT. If you have not checked this show out, please do yourself a favor. Check it out. I know for some time zones, it's like 3 a.m. when it started, so obviously that's not going to happen. But if you have watched NXT Takeover Dallas, make sure to drop your review in the comment section. Same thing for when we provide our WrestleMania review, which will be going up live after WrestleMania. If you like this video, make sure to like, subscribe, join the family, check out the podcast, available every single Tuesday night. And it's the Raw after WrestleMania. So in some form, we're probably going to be like, holy crap, what just happened? Wrestling is going to change. Hopefully that is what happens. I don't want it to be a podcast where it's just like, well, matches happened, and we are here to talk about them.
There'll be plenty to talk about. That's partly why we're doing the WrestleMania review, so we have plenty of time to talk about Raw, because you know stuff's going down.
Exactly. So, gang, thank you for always supporting us, dropping the comments, dropping the likes, sharing the videos, and we will be back with tons more right here on Byte That.